Okay. Hello? Hello? لا هو قال لي the moment they come it will be on. هو مهندس الصوت قال لي أول ما حيوصلوا it will be turned on. أصل ما عنديش pause button فقلت له يعني مش ممكن يعني أسمع حاجة عن قال لي لا now you can بس then ما فيش يعني. Okay.
That's why the dialogue which we have on a monthly basis allows us to keep a hands-on approach to the market, to the
مطفي. هلو مطفي الميكروفون مطفي. بتسمعوا؟ لا استنى.
So.
الو
No.
ايه سامعيني؟
Hello, hello, hello.
الو
Hello, hello. Yeah, but he.
We work on the problem. A problem, but we don't know what is it. But give us 1 minute.
The press release is out. You can check it. Okay. Is that okay? More? Less? Hello? All right. You're welcome. Microphone test, microphone test. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, two, test.
قدم نبدل لا نبدل لا نبدل
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I would like to welcome everybody in this, our first, after a long-lasting period of virtual meetings. I have to remind our friends and colleagues from the various press outlets that we've been also messaging with you virtually at times when we needed to reach out to you. I found it prominent that we all celebrate with you our return to normal meetings, and because of that we wanted to make this event a more memorialized event. I wanted to also to share with you the view that a good number of my colleagues found it important that we have a message to relay to the whole world, a message of engaging, a message of moderation, but also a message of caution. We have had a record to celebrate also when it comes to how OPEC Plus had fared over the last 2 years and a half, overcoming all of these calamitous events, starting from COVID, and now we are going through a period of diverse uncertainties which could come our way. It's a brewing cloud that we hope with our cohesion, with our commitment to the various approaches that we have built in within our means and ways of conducting ourselves. I have to keep reminding our friends here the clue for OPEC Plus success is first and foremost is our cohesion, and you could see it in front of you. The operative model is very simple, and we urge other international organizations to copy and paste, because at least we have a record to show that we have been successful. We always opted for making sure that we are attentive, and to be attentive, you have to be assertive and preemptive, and certainly ahead of the curve, which means you have to be proactive. It is a simple principle that we found ourselves deploying. That deployment had enabled us to maintain a sustainable oil market. And if you compare what OPEC Plus had achieved compared to what others have been trying to achieve, I leave it for your own judgment to do that appraisal and to give us that grade that I think we own, because it was not something that happened haphazardly or as a stroke of a genius luck or a choke or as a being fortunate. Let's not forget also that with doing so and being festive and celebrative of what we have achieved, we also conducted ourselves discharging our commitment to the global economy. And we have and continue and shall continue our commitment to the world economy, to the betterment of the producers and the consumers. Whatever actions that we have taken, whatever action we have taken today, and whatever action we may take in the future, we will demonstrate to you now and even after that it was all done with the view that we need to be attentive to the word requirements and word commitment. So we are discharging our commitment. We will continue discharging our commitment, and we will continuously prove that OPEC Plus is here not only to stay, but here to stay as a moderating force to bring about stability and a betterment to the and a supporting anomaly to the world economy. We are also mindful of a fact that sometimes skips people in going through these things, which is not only we are mindful of our own well-being as countries or as national oil companies or operators within our borders, but what we do is very crucial and very important to other exporting countries that are not members of OPEC Plus. And I have to say also to other importing countries, but do have a good share of their requirements is being produced locally. And the examples are many. Energy is something that can never be attended to in a short-term tweaks and moves. The world energy markets needs attendance and needs careful planning and needs assertive investments and needs commitment to this investment and needs guidance, without which investment will not happen, without which investors will not be there, and without which, as you can see with your own eyes, it will become a crippling anomaly to the world economy. This is what we are being going through when it comes to supply chains. This is what is happening too when it comes to energy markets. I have something to show you. You know me very well. Most of you have been friends of mine for quite some time, which is a friendship that I will continue to cherish and be proud of. But I would like to share with you one slide. Although you know me, I hate to talk about oil prices. I do not make oil prices an issue for me. However, I will show you with a glimpse of a chart what OPEC Plus has succeeded with and what others had failed to do. Can you click the... There you go. I want you to look at oil prices. This is a comparison between what was prior prices in January this year, the average prices of January this year, vis-a-vis the average prices of September. And in the case of Brent, it's 6%. In the case of WTI, is 1%. US gasoline, because that is where we can find a retailer price, it's 11%. But look at the rest. And ask yourself the question, who delivered? With that, I am, as I said, honored to be surrounded with my friends and colleagues, and definitely amongst the others that are not here, we have proven not only we are colleagues and we are just a band of brothers that will continue to serve our cause, our countries, our people, but definitely, as I would repeat it, we are still, will continue to be committed to be an international participant that delivers what I've just shown in the chart. If any of my friends would like to make an opening remarks. Okay, if you permit me, I will take any question from your end. Hadley?
Your Royal Highness, thank you so much for speaking to us today. And again, congratulations on everyone coming back on the end. We're all very, very happy to see you here. Secretary General, congratulations on sharing your first OPEC Plus meeting, I should say, with the Saudis. Thank you so much. Your Royal Highness, I want to kick off by asking you specifically a question that I asked of Vladimir Putin a year ago. Are you using energy as a weapon? It was a question that he denied, but there are people in Washington and in the White House who right now are looking at the cuts that OPEC Plus is making, and they are saying that this is an aggressive move by OPEC. And they're very, very curious to understand why this organization that they call a cartel is moving against the United States,
and Europe. And Mr. Secretary General, to follow on to that, when I spoke to you just a couple of months ago, you said you had an open door policy to European policymakers. Have they entered that door? Are you having those conversations with them? Because I have to tell you, there is a huge narrative coming from the West right now that OPEC, as you say, a band of brothers, but as they would say, a cartel, is attempting to hold the world hostage, just as Vladimir Putin has done when it comes to energy prices. Thank you, gentlemen.
Well, very provocative question, which I take pleasure of answering Hadi with a quick, not a big answer. Show me where is the act of belligerence, period. Secretary General.
Your Royal Highness, and back to your question, yes, I did say we have an open door. We have an open door. I'm waiting for someone to knock on that door. That's all I can say.
And you're still not getting anyone knocking on that door? Because a lot of folks would say that by this action, by these cuts, you are endangering global energy markets, you are endangering the global economy. What's the response there, sirs?
If you permit me, Royal Highness, we are not endangering the energy markets. We are providing security, stability to the energy markets.
At a price.
Everything has a price. Energy security has a price as well.
Amina and Nasser then. Amina and then Nasser.
Amina Bakr from Energy Intelligence. Your Highness, you've warned many times of the very limited and tight spare capacity. This cut that happened today, how much spare capacity does it free up? And in the future, would you think about returning more oil to the markets, provided the situation changes? Thank you.
Well, the agreement talks about an extension of the current agreement to 23. We have softened even the amount of meetings and the mechanics to make sure that people can get a better sight of our guidance to the market. What we could do, as you have seen in the press release, the JMMC will meet twice, every 2 months. The JMMC has been authorized to hold even more meetings if it requires. And also, the conference meetings will go back to the normal situation, which is twice a year. However, the JMMC will have the authority to call for any additional meetings. The guidance also makes sure that we didn't do these things just to meet and have coffee and talk with each other. It meant that we will have to discuss the market situation and see how things will evolve. And based on that, we could call for meetings which may require some tweaks here or there. The purpose of it is that we show that we are attentive to the markets, whichever way it goes. The amount of and level of uncertainty that we are faced up with today is beyond. I have had 35 years of experience in this field. I would like to challenge anybody who could come and say we've been through a situation as similar as it is today. And if we are not to be attentive or take it lightly, like some others did, when they were not attending to this quantitative easing, when they did not attend to the amount of inflation that were accumulating and propelling, and look at what is happening. They're backpedaling, they are trying to play catch-up. We cannot afford playing catch-up. We'd rather be preemptive than being sorry. And by the way, if we are not to be preemptive, the cost of both time and value will be higher. But again, I would have to stress, it is not just about Saudi Arabia or UAE or Kuwait. It's about an industry. It's about a global economy that would suffer if we run out of energy. This is something that everybody now is going through. And again, I would refer you to the chart that I was just showing, which talks a million words without having to talk about it. Okay, Nasser.
مساء الخير على الوزراء جميعا. ناصر الطيب من العربية. سمو الأمير، في أغسطس تحدثت عن تحذير عن انفصام السوق الورقية النفطية عن السوق النفطية الحقيقية. هذا القرار والخفض ب2 مليون برميل يوميا إلى نهاية ديسمبر كيف يخدم إعادة ربط هذه السوقين؟
يعني الوضع تغير شوية من ذاك الوقت، لكن ما في شك عندي انه في احجام عن دخول السوق الورقيه بسبب كلفه اللي يسمى البريميوم. بقدر ما تنقص كلفه البريميوم او الهامش الربحي بقدر او كلفه العقود بقدر ما يكون هناك مشاركه. المشكله الان ما هي مع المضاربين، المشكله انه في احجام من يحتاجون هذه الاسواق الورقيه لمعالجه المخاطر اللي ممكن يتعرضونها، خصوصا إذا كانوا صناعات تعتمد على الطاقة بشكل أساسي ومهم، أن لها تعرف كم الكلفة لها حتى تتمكن من إدارة محافظها أو استثماراتها بطريقة سليمة. هذا الوضع الآن الموجود يجعل من الصعب على هذه الصناعات والمستهلكين الكبار أنهم يلجأوا للسوق الورقية لأنها مكلفة، وبقدر ما تكون مكلفة بقدر ما تكون الإحجام يكون أكثر، وبالتالي تكون عرضة للمضاربة ولما يسمى بالمانيبيوليشن. Halima.
First of all, thank you so much for having us all back in Vienna. We are all very happy to be back in the Secretariat. Your Royal Highness, you talked about careful planning. This is something you've talked about before, not being, having to be reactive. How are you thinking about, as you go through your planning process, what happens on December 5th with the EU's sixth package of sanctions and the launch of the price cap plan? Are you anticipating significant market dislocations? How are you, with your crystal ball, it's only potentially 2 months away, how are you thinking about that event and preparing reaction responses?
Well, first of all, Halima, I owe to you as a friend. You've been so kind to all of us. You've been engaged in really trying to excavate the analysis, the true analysis, and without any biases here or there, you were after the truth and after the true analysis. And so I'm very grateful for that. I ought to say it to you. Be it as it may, unfortunately, none of us can claim that he has a crystal ball. The only person that had crystal ball was Faradon Fasharaki, and even Faradon lost his own crystal ball because actually this is our dichotomy, if I may explain it in behalf of our friend. We have so many uncertainties. We don't know what will happen to the embargo. We don't know yet how the cap will be executed and who is going to commit to it and what will be the impact of it. We don't know, central bankers, I would have to say belatedly, decided that they should combat inflation. And they rushed with this new modus operandi of wanting to tame inflation at the cost of the economy. And this is not my statement. You could go and check their own statement. And this is, by the way, it's all over the place. So we don't know how much inflation taming will happen in the future and how that inflation will respond to this taming approach, and how much more important, how much it will take from the world economy growth to do that taming. It's an open-ended thing. We don't know what will happen with regard to China lockdown. I would have to say something else which might put me in another space, but even if we can imagine that China loosens its own lockdown, well, you may end up with a growth of demand on commodities and all of the, and you may impact actually the supply chains. And then you will have a propelling effect to the so-called inflationary pressures coming from commodities, which means that it would give credence or more credence to the idea of a continuous amount of taming of inflation through interest rates. We also, there are geopolitical things that are at work, and I don't want to, this is a silo that we don't talk about politics, but again, there is an overriding issues that are beyond the scope of this organization. That's why I was saying earlier that it's making it extremely complex, extremely tough and frustrating for all of us here to try to, you know, with all the modesty that we should have and humbleness that we should have, we should just come out and plain and say, we are not in the gambling business. We have to be careful, and we have to be candid with the world that our limited abilities as human is making it difficult for us to project and predict. We have went through an exercise ourselves in Saudi Arabia. We collected every institution, including yours and others. The amount of spread of all forecasts, it was like Swiss cheese is not compared, because it's a variance of huge variance, which tells you a lot about the amount of certainty that people have. If you end up with that exercise, and that exercise tell you this, then if you are not be careful, I don't know what you should do. Sorry, please. I have to ask you to direct some of the questions to my friends and colleagues. Brian the man.
Thank you.
I like some of your tweets, and this morning tweet was a bit funny. You and I will have a go at each other.
Which one of the 50 tweets this morning, Your Royal Highness?
We'll have a Texan way of getting to each other, talking to each other.
I look forward to that conversation, I think. Your Royal Highness, thank you very much. I will direct this to you if I have to, but also I would love to hear from His Excellency Suhail Mazrouhi. First off, did you walk from the Kempinski this morning? We saw you come around the corner. First off, the same question then to both of you, because you may have different answers based on your viewpoint. How much, Your Royal Highness, has the release of the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve and others in the world distorted true price discovery? And Your Excellency, if you could also answer the same question, we would appreciate it. Thank you.
I wouldn't call it a distortion. Actually, it was done in the right time. And if it didn't happen, I'm sure that things might be different than what it is today. So to start with, I'm going to call it distortion. And to start with, this is, 7 countries. They have their own setup. It's not a state secret. They have their own mechanics. They have their own system. They have their own triggering mechanisms. They triggered it. And I think we just have to continue to be respectful of the institution and the governing rules. But we are also equally seeking reciprocity.
Thank you, Your Royal Highness. I think it's important. There is one fact that we cannot deny from, which is the fact that there are no investments coming, and to not to do what we have to do, as a group, which is concerned about all of member countries coming back to their production and putting some of their money and capital into those investments. If we don't do that, then It doesn't matter what a decision you do for 6 months or so, but we will fall from a cliff. And it's not enough that few countries are only investing when we are 20 or 20 plus countries here in OPEC plus. We are concerned about the lack of investments. And I think we are concerned about a lack of a demand or a demand fall due to the circumstances that His Excellency mentioned. And to the other, I think end, I mean, the table is explaining itself. Why are we only looking at oil while oil is not the major contributor to the economical issues that we are having? Gas, I would say, and other commodities, coal and others, are affecting the world economy much more than crude oil and products. So I think we need as professionals to look at those markets, look at what others could do to also copy or take us as a lead in what we are doing in terms of ensuring that investments are there and the prices are reasonable as well to the consumers. We care about the consuming nations, and what we are doing is to ensure that we have more oil coming to the market for years to come. It's not a short-term thing.
Thank you. David Shepherd from the Financial Times. I just want you, for the people at home, to explain to the average motorist why you are so concerned about oil prices when they're already historically at quite high levels. The average people filling up their car will feel the price seems high to me. Why is OPEC saying we need to reduce production now when prices are already relatively elevated and the economy appears to be struggling?
Well, David, you could see reality in whichever way you want. I showed you now that oil prices are as they were almost back in January before this crisis. Check your motorists and see what they are paying for gasoline or diesel, and ask yourself the question where the money is going. You will see it in refining capacity and in refining margin and what have you. That is when it comes to Europe, when it comes to the Euro 85. Check that number and you will see what is the take of the producer, and you will find it as it is here. You know, I have Brent here. I take it, you're living in the UK. I take it also, why don't you be much more concerned about what would be the electricity prices that would be paid? What would be the gas prices that would be used to heat heating in this one? What, as again, Sahel was saying, what is so odd about oil when it is only registering the most modest amongst other sources of energy? You have coal now, and you have gas here. And if you want to see what his electricity prices would be, look at the two, and you will figure out what would be the bill. Absolutely.
Just to follow up the question, and thank you for taking it. The gas price is widely seen in Europe and much of the Western world as having been manipulated by Russia, which has cut supply. People will now see Saudi Arabia and the core members of OPEC and OPEC Plus cooperating with Russia to try and raise the oil price. It's a simplistic view, but David, that will be the view.
David, you want to twist it to your end, fine. It's your prerogative, it's your right. We've been collaborating with all OPEC Plus countries ever since December 2016. So it is not an accident of mutual convenience, if you could call it. Again, it is not about, it is the act and the result. For me, as I was saying to Hadley, where is the belligerence? Where is the ill intentions? There is nothing else to showcase and to prove that we are not doing what you are accusing us to doing than the chart. Look at other commodities. What is happening to other commodities? Even milk for the children. Look at that, how much it is expensive. And don't accuse us of also OPEC Plus has something to do with milk or what? Okay. Yes.
The mic, please.
غالب درويش اندبندنت عربية. سيدي الوسائل الإعلام الأمريكية التي وصفت قرار أوبك بلس بخفض الإنتاج أنه غير ضروري، هل لذلك تأثير على قرارات المنظمة في المستقبل؟ وفي نفس الوقت كبار المستهلكين يطالبون المنظمة بزيادة الإنتاج، كيف ترون هذه المطالب؟ شكرا.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. طبعا في البداية would like يعني أشكر His Royal Highness Emir Abdulaziz for giving me the chance to visit Vienna for the first time. This is my first attendance. طبعا فيما يتعلق في يعني موضوع أنها تكون غير unnecessary أو غير مطلوبة. طبعا هناك مثل ما احنا دائما نقوم فيه شهريا خلال الاجتماعات الدوريه اللي نقوم فيها بمتابعه كل ما يتعلق في الدراسات للسوق والسوق النفطي، فيما يتعلق في ايضا في السبلاي ديماند فورمولا، وايضا مثل ما هو معروض امامكم فيما يتعلق في الظروف المتعلقه في صناعه الطاقه. كل هذه العوامل طبعا تؤخذ بعين الاعتبار، ودائما احنا نحاول ان نكون proactive في هذا الخصوص. واعتقد اليوم القرار اللي اتخذ هو انعكاس مباشر لهذه العمليه. هي عمليه تحتاج الى اخذ بعين الاعتبار جميع الجوانب، هناك لا يقل عن 6 أو 7 عوامل توضع على الطاوله للنقاش. وهذه العوامل من غير ما ندخل بالتفاصيل لو اتكلم عنها بالتفصيل، هناك من الامور في كل عامل قد ياخذ ساعه في النقاش. وهذه العوامل الكل يعرفها، هناك الضغط الاقتصادي، ايضا الانفليشن، هناك امور تتعلق في الوضع في الصين، ما حد تكلم عن الوضع في الصين اليوم. هذه التحديات كلها تؤخذ بعين الاعتبار، وقد تؤدي الى ما ممكن ان تؤثر على عمليه البالانس بين السبلاي والديماند، وهذه الامور اللي ناخذها دائما بعين الاعتبار. هذه دائما احنا يعني العمل الجماعي لهذه المنظمه للقيام بهذا الدور المفصلي في الوقت المناسب. وانا اعتقد ان اليوم العامل الاساسي اللي هو عامل الوقت، متى ناخذ القرار، وهذه هي التحديات اللي امامنا. هل ناخذ اليوم؟ ناخذها بعد شهر؟ ناخذها بعد 3 أشهر؟ يمكن سمو الامير يمكن اخبر مني في هذا الامر. إذا ما تأخذ القرار بالوقت المناسب انعكاساتها جربناها في كثير من الأمثلة. يمكن نرجع إلى 2008 مع سموك، كل التاريخ يرجع إلى هذا التاريخ. لم أكن في هذاك الوقت مشارك بما جرى، ولكن أعتقد أن نحن نتعلم من التاريخ. شكرا.
Please.
شكرا سمو الأمير. صبا عودة من تلفزيون الشرق. سمو الأمير، الخفض الذي نتحدث عنه اليوم البعض يقول بأنه لن يكون له الأثر الحقيقي على السوق بالشكل المطلوب، بنفس الوقت سيكون له أثر كبير على زيادة مستويات التضخم، وأن يصبح التضخم شيء يبقى في الاقتصادات العالمية لفترة أطول.
ما في نسق. إذا كان ما له أثر فمعناته كيف يأثر على التضخم؟ يعني ما أدري. كان إذا كان بالمناسبة أذكر مسرحية عادل إمام الضال، يا تنتن يا تنتن، يعني ما في يا هذه يا هذه، يا في أثر we try to measure it، يا ما في أثر صلى الله على محمد وهدينا
كون التخفيض مليونين برميل رح يكون من الاساس من البيت.
ما اقدر انا كرئيس مجموعه ما اقدر يعني انتهك حق دول اعضاء. فيه استيميت بس بعض الارقام اللي طلعت اليوم بعد هذا ما هي صحيح. كانت 500,000 هذا هلس ما هو صحيح.
بالضبط هذا هو السؤال. الارقام
يعني
موجوده.
انا بدون انتقاص من لاحظ المجموعه الموجوده الان يمكن هي اللي تتحمل التخفيض الحقيقي، لكن يمكن اور استيميتس في حدود يمكن المليون، 1,100,000 حاجه زي كذا.
1,100,000
مليون الى 1,100,000
من قبل الاعضاء.
ولكن مع احترام حقوق كل دوله في حقها والمحافظه على قدرتها في انها تنتج حصتها، لكن تظل يعني مساله تقديريه.
شكرا.
Hadley, no. We'll have to give our friend here.
Thank you very much, Minister. Alex Lawler from Reuters News Agency. I had two questions. The first is...
But no, Alex, I have to talk to you about. So you have got it wrong.
Okay.
And you have got it wrong twice.
Before I ask a question,
and you will get it the third time if you did. Reuters did not do a proper job. You talked about Russia doing this and that, and actually, the day that your story came out, no one from Russia talked to me, nor I talked to anybody from Russia. You repeated that again with another tale of a story prior to that Saudi and Russia, blah blah blah, are congregating around $100 price. That is not true. And I spent 20 minutes from one of your respected members of your bureau in Dubai, explaining to her, or actually 25 minutes, why we don't go as Saudi Arabia for price targeting. And that 25 minutes went in vain, and I really don't like that. I acted in a very respectful way, emanating from respecting the agency, and I think, but you elected to choose a phantom Saudi source. Saucy sauce, if I can do it as British as I could. But if you have question, direct it to others, but not me. I'm not talking to Reuters until you respect the source, which is the energy minister on behalf of the Saudi government.
Okay, thank you. I won't ask.
So you ask the questions to any of my colleagues. Okay? Please.
Many thanks. Grant Smith from Bloomberg. Your Royal Highness, there had been some speculation before this meeting that perhaps...
I didn't know that Scotland is here.
Scotland is here and well represented, Your Highness. Thank you.
Amenably more than well represented.
If I may, Your Highness, there had been some speculation before this meeting that perhaps the Kingdom and perhaps Russia and some other countries may consider some supplementary voluntary adjustments, such as those the Kingdom has done in the past. Is that something that you did consider or would consider going forward? And if I could also ask, you've spoken about the uncertainty in the market right now. Could you elaborate a little bit more on the supply-demand conditions you're seeing right now that have merited this production cut? Thank you, sir.
Okay, Grant. I see, we all see a greater level of uncertainty. So, and we do see curves. And I would like to, Mohammed, can you show some of the things? This is what we see in terms of GDP growth. So it is a trend. You could see it in front of you. I don't know if you can see it, Grant. What else do we have, Mohammed? This is, again, a demand. This is a trend. And we don't know what is happening in not even just tomorrow. But this is the kind of trend when it comes to demand. This is extrapolation of the past and how it has been. Now, this is the trend when it comes to possibility of recession. And you could see, and this is not, by the way, it's Bloomberg. So if you are deceiving the world, that's your, but it's Bloomberg and others actually. And look at these higher and higher probability. That's a trend. And is there anything else, Ahmed? Here you go. Here you go. I will keep the rabbits coming. Don't worry. This is the amount of interest rates hiking that has been happening and will continue happening, as we've been told by central bankers. If these things are not an indicators of what may come in the future, I don't know what else. I think we should be in the grocery industry, not the energy industry. I would refer you to the good interview that I did with Bloomberg, where I spoke about what OPEC Plus do. But I want to assert something on behalf of our colleagues. When we talk about we have all means, and it goes both ways. It doesn't go one way. I don't think we have to enhance our credentials of being a respected and responsible producers. And we shall act and react to what is happening to the world global economy in the most responsible and responsive way. Please. No, I don't.
Thank you, Royal Highness Paul Sankey. Now, we're all delighted to be back here post-COVID, and I was wondering if it isn't time to reset the quota system to reflect that we are hopefully post-COVID, and it's very confusing, quite frankly, at times, exactly what the cuts are and where the baselines are and everything else. Could I request or ask you if you're going to reset everything so that we can...
No, that's a valid question, and we talked about it, but then we decided that because of the nature of the situation, and again, the irregularity of the ask now and the situation, we opted to extend the agreement as it is and make sure that we will buy the time, that we revisit all of these things, hopefully with time when we have a more, our priority now is stabilizing market. Now, we could be accused of wanting to influence market in a negative way. That's everybody's prerogative. You and others will see how we conduct ourselves in the months to come. But with this situation, prevailing situation, I think we ought to buy ourselves a good period of working and focusing on how to attend to this market situation. And then hopefully somewhere later on 23, as we hopefully can come out of this situation, we will have the time and the days to and again reinvigorate ourselves with some reality check.
Thank you very much. I work on Wall Street, and if I could ask a follow-up, we have something that we refer to as the Saudi put, which is the idea that you'll defend $80 oil. Should we read from this that you're putting a floor on the price of oil to maintain reinvestment and to avoid excessive weakness?
You're reminding me of Bantam of the Opera. So we have Bantam Saudi source, Bantam put, and Bantam call. So I think we could just switch off this video conference, media conference, and switch on Bantam of the Opera as a replacement of a reality check. But there is no put and there is no call. As a Saudi energy minister, and I'm sure that almost all of everybody here, they are long-term producers, if I may, on your behalf, and please share with me, they are in this business for years and years to come. The most pivotal and more important thing for all of us in this table and others who have a huge amount of hydrocarbon resources is to make sure that we have a stable, sustainable, stable market that will not inhibit investment, that will not inhibit growth of demand, and we have to act in a way, in a responsible way, to assure people that we are still remaining a responsible producers, that the world can rely on us. I have, just for giving everybody a chance. Yes, please.
Your Royal Highness, thank you very much for bringing us all back here. It's really good after 2.5 years to be back here, first of all. Cornelia Meyer Resources. I totally get the outlook, the negative outlook, the potential for serious recession. Have you, when you look at it, also looked at the what if China gets out of its COVID lockdowns? And have you do you have a view on what that impact would be on demand?
Happy to answer that. I think there is a mechanism. So we of the given that we have explained today, that's the decision that we think is the right decision for all of us, not only for us as producers, but also for the long-term market. Now, if something of a magnitude that requires doing something different, we are a phone call away. There is a mechanism. We have done it before. And our intention is balancing the market, bringing investments, and our intention is to be a long-term players, not a short-term players, just attaining to. And one thing very important, we're not a political organization. We are an organization that meets on technical grounds, discuss on a technical ground, and our aim is to help the world economy to recover and to bring prosperity back to the market. Unfortunately, today, we have shown you the indications, and they are not encouraging us to do something different that will trample us in the future. I hope I answered the question.
Hello, Harman Wang with Platts. Pleasure to be back in Vienna. Thank you for organizing this reunion of all of us. But I did want to ask a question to you.
Herman, you are the last person I would forget.
Well, thank you very much.
But I was wondering, where are you?
I'm right here. A question for yourself, Your Royal Highness, and also as well for your counterpart from the UAE, especially in light of the aggressive expansions and production capacity that your national oil companies are investing in right now. I just wonder why extend these quotas all the way through the end of December 2023? You're locking these in for over a year, and you've said yourself there's a lot of uncertainty in the market. What's the reasoning behind such a long-term quota setting?
Well, maybe I responded to it. Maybe you were not here, but we wanted to give the market the guidance. But that guidance could change relevant to the situation that may prevail. But as it is today, we feel much more assured that we should give that comfort to the market that we're here for the full year, for the full 14 months, if it requires. However, if the things changes, we will tweak with it. If things get worse, we will have to also tweak. I'll leave it to Mohammed.
I think that goes the same. The fact that our countries are building a reserve is a long-term investment. So that's a commitment that we have done as a responsible producers. We'll continue doing that, but also we would like the other countries to spend enough to maintain and go back to their production quota. If we're just selfish and just looking at ourselves and not looking at the overall, believe me, there will be no enough investments that alone we can do to bring enough to the whole world. So if something, like I explained earlier, if something requires us to reverse or do something different, We are a concerned party of the market, and we will meet and we will take again the right decision. We have done it over and over, and we have proven ourselves that we are a reliable group that have helped everyone, I would say, seeing a 6% rather than seeing, an unattained markets or commodities. You've seen what happened to them. And unfortunately, no one is even talking about those as much as they talk about the gasoline or diesel prices. It's important that I think we put more emphasis on those commodities, electricity prices and gas prices, because they are affecting the world economy much more than crude oil and products. Thank you.
Yes.
Hello. My name is Antonio Sanchez with EFE, the Spanish news agency. The White House has just issued
No. Please, we are, again, in this building, we call it the silo. We talk about oil, we talk about energy, and we are a very group of technicians. This is our job. So I'm afraid even our friends and colleagues from the media have to abide by the same rules. We will discuss oil policy, energy policies, and technicalities. This is way above our pay grade, if you could call it. If you don't mind that.
I do, but...
Helene, yes, what do you want again?
Come on. Your Excellency.
You always want something, but I always deny.
Well, I still have to keep asking. Your Royal Highness, thank you.
You have every right to ask, and I have every right not to respond if I wish to.
This is true. This question actually is for Your Royal Highness and His Excellency Sohail Al-Masroui. I believe our colleague was just mentioning a White House press release where essentially they had said that they were disappointed. By
No.
My question has to do with energy poverty. It's a conversation that I've been having across the world. And as you both know, I'm a citizen and resident of the UAE, but of course, I'm also an American citizen. So when I have those conversations, the idea of energy poverty and the idea of social unrest really, really hits home to me, because the idea that we could have a situation where what I consider my part of the world, the Middle East, could be at odds with those in the United States, the West, where my parents live, where so many of my friends live, it's deeply disturbing to me. And we're talking about now energy poverty across the West, in Europe and elsewhere. I'd love both of you gentlemen to just respond to that in terms of what is OPEC as an organization willing to do when it comes to energy poverty and the possibility of civil unrest. Because I don't think that's political. I think
excellent.
I think it's a great question.
No, excellent.
And we want to hear what you have to say.
You couldn't. This is the first time you asked me an excellent question. But I'll tell you what. Just next door, there is an institution called OPEC, and they have an energy poverty program, which has been active and proactive. We, within the Middle East Initiative and Green Initiative, we have and we have a program called Sustainability Program that will work with many, I have to be specific, African countries and Southeast Asian countries to play a role in trying to bring about. And I'm willing to provide you with statistics.
But what about energy security, energy poverty in the West, in Europe, in the United States, elsewhere? People who are moved to civil unrest as a result of the decisions made in this room.
That's the role of the respected governments of countries that I think can afford it, if I may. But you have to distinguish. I think the principle of energy poverty came first and foremost on countries that are truly suffering because they have the lack in the means. They're given the proposition: burn wood and be sick, or somebody is gonna have to provide you with something better. This is, for us, is the most important and relevant thing. And you will see In our statistics, there are at least 2.5 billion people that are suffering from that energy. 700 million of them are not even in Africa, but at least. And this is, if this is not a sizable sum that we should focus on, I don't know what we should do in this world. And this is emanating from what I would call it the arrogance of the wealth. People think that everybody else is living in their standards, and the choices that others are given is, it's like, can't you get your Ferrari to be electrified when the poor guy, he barely have to cut trees and make his food with burning wood? That's the choice today.
Well, I think Europe is very important to all of us, and we have them as investors, and we have companies from Europe as investors. The relationship is great, and I don't think we're talking about an energy poverty rather than an energy security. The issue is energy security, and Europe is trying to look at means of attaining to that. But when we talk about energy poverty, I don't think we're talking about Europe. I think we should be talking about Africa, South America, the East, and talk about people who doesn't have access to energy, period. Having access to energy and choosing one over the other, looking at the taxes compared to the price of energy, that's another thing that I think Europe is unlike many countries, like our countries, and as you said, you live in the UAE, you can compare. You can compare the prices of electricity and you can compare the prices of others. The majority is taxes. Now, can we do anything about that? No, of course not. And we will not discuss it. That's the business of those governments. But I think the issue is more into the gas, and the risk to Europe is more into the gas than it is to not getting enough crude or not enough oil. We will make sure always that we have a balanced market, but and if we have to do more, we will do more. But we have to be proactive, not to bring the market to crash and then takes more time to fix it. And if that happened, guess what? The decline in many of the countries will be enormous. We cannot then fix it. And we are looking a way longer term than I think what some of the journalists or media looking at us, looking at 6 months, looking at a 1 year. We are looking at a long term. What's going to happen in 2024? End of 2023 to going to 2024. Who can guarantee us that the level of production that we see today is going to be granted? You all remember when we started in 2020, what was the baseline for many of those countries and what is the baseline today? That's all due to lack of investments. And in order to invest, the price is one of the mechanisms that encourage investors to invest, whether we like it or not. But fortunately, because of this organization, the impact on price to the consumers is the least compared to any form of energy. And the table we showed you explains that. So if you could explain to us how the world is going to deal, or the Europeans going to deal with the gas going 5 times where it used to be, then I think we can have a candid discussion about where is the oil. But what's important to us is that long term, bringing investment, the sustainability of this market, and I can tell you that UAE, in terms of dealing with the poverty, we are also helping through renewable energy. So we are introducing new forms of energy, even though we are an oil producer. We have done that in collaboration with IRENA, and we have given grants and done projects in many countries to deal with energy poverty. So I think as a country of our size, we have done much more than bigger economies in Europe or in the US or elsewhere.
We have His Excellency. He has also some additional remarks to make on this particular question.
Thank you, Your Royal Highness. And I think, as you said, it's a very excellent question. I'm very happy to hear that kind of question being asked now, because we are fully committed for that. As organization, we are fully committed for energy poverty. Yes. I'm not sure that when you say energy poverty, it has the same meaning that I can have as an African country. Energy poverty in Africa means 600 million people without access to electricity. That's energy poverty. It means 900 million people without access to modern gas. I don't know if you can understand what it means, having no access to electricity, no access to modern gas. That's what we have to face. And some of those countries are members of OPEC and OPEC+. Why are they here in OPEC and OPEC+? Maybe it's interesting to try to understand why. Because those countries, they need the revenues coming from oil and gas. They need it to be produced in a long-term forecast, stable market, which give the long view and long-term expectation for the revenues. Because that revenues are used by those countries to address the issue of energy poverty. Yes, that's why we need to have a stable market. We need to have a good view of what will happen in the future. We don't need to have surprises all the time, shocks and non-shocks, never know what will happen tomorrow. We need to have a clear view for the 10, 20 years, so we can have politics strategies to face, to struggle against energy poverty. Yes, yes. I will just add your awareness. Behind the ministers coming here for meetings, you have people, you have population, you have countries, you have needs, you have some hope for well-being, some hope for being developed, some hope to a better living. Yes. Behind the minister, you have countries. Yes, you have population. So I don't think that we're doing things here against anyone. No, we're doing things for our population. We're doing what we think is the best for our population. And at the same time, we think that is the best for global economy because it's good for the market. So really, I don't have too much to add. The position of OPEC and OPEC Plus is fully supported by Africa. Not only the producing countries, all Africa fully support OPEC and OPEC Plus position. We have an organization in Africa which is called APO, it's African Petroleum Producing Organization. We work very closely with OPEC and OPEC Plus, and we fully support. I think the next COP27 will be the opportunity. You will hear our head of state saying a very strong message about what's happening on the oil market for the world. Thank you.
Thanks. We promise you transparency. I think we can proclaim that we have discharged our commitment. It's your choice, of which we hope that you can, with all the answers that we gave you, that you can report it. And we have no other mean but to rely on your honesty, professionalism, and objectivity to tell our
true story, not the story that others would like us to be framed at. Thank you very much again. Look forward to see you in December.